today, as you can see right there on the screen, today is day 34 of 66 days in a row of hand reading. Things are going really good. Yesterday's hand reading was pretty cool. Hand reading this player, Big the Big, who is a winning player in my database. And I figured might as well stick with this, but instead this time let's hand read two different ranges at once. So we did a middle position hand before. Let's look at some early position stuff today. Look for some hands with some decent action. You can see I have it sorted by turn actions here. Oh, that seems interesting. A raise, bet, and then a call. So we get to see action, or we get to see aggression and passivity from both sides in this hand. Hopefully it is just a heads up hand, but we shall see here. So, because we're doing two ranges, of course. Oh, what was the date on this one? 9/28. Oh, not too long ago at all. So, 9/28. Of course, we have our dual ranges spreadsheet here from splitsuit.com/templates. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you right there at the bottom of the screen. Pay what you want for these. I'm going to put the notes and both the ranges right here and all this stuff as we go. And of course, because we are double ranging it today, we've got two different windows for Flopzilla and Hold EQ. And of course, with Hold EQ, you know it's tied into these two. So 10-4 offsuit, bottom range right here, 9-8 off up here, and it looks like 9-8 off is only a 46% favorite. But the interesting thing is, or I should say 46% dog, but the interesting thing is 9-8 offsuit hits top pair or better, and these good draws 25% of the time. 10-4, only 13% of the time. So you could see pre-flop, 10-4 is a stronger hand. But really, floppability-wise, 9-8 is a better flopping hand and probably a little bit easier to play than 10-4 offsuit. Possibly easier. Yep, so those are the hands there. Let's go ahead and whip out, or that's all our tools there. Let's go ahead and whip out the hand now. All right, let's see the action. Remember, Big the Big is we're going to consider this one our hero, and then we'll see who the villain ends up being. Oh, there's me, Wacky One. I ended up folding. Let's see what I folded. Deuce for offsuit. Would expect nothing less versus an under the gun open. So Otis calls, and then Ars Viva calls. Let's see who ends up dropping, because I want to know. Okay, Ars Viva ends up going away, as we can see the buttons right here. So the small blind is our villain in this hand. So right here, when Big the Big opens, let's take a look at his raise first in and EP. 19%. And we know that this is a full ring table. It's only 19%. One player remaining, but still, I mean, once he opens, there's still 7 other players for him to get through. So he's going to have maybe a slightly tighter range than just that 19%. So let's start at 20%. Let's start cutting these away. I think he's probably opening every pocket pair. Maybe not these crummy offsuits. Maybe not even that. Let's stick with the Jack and the Ace-10 offsuit. I'm good with the rest of these. It is only 17%. I think he actually might be a little bit tighter. I like the 7-6. Whoops. Let's take out the 10-8. Let's take out these two as well. Let's keep the Ace-10 offsuit. So let's bring him down to a 15% range here. %, and 198 combos. And then, hand number. Skip that. 88242325. Big the Big is hero. Ars Viva villain. Hero opens UTG. SB villain calls. Big blind calls. Great. So that makes sense. His opening range right there. Rather on the snugger side, it is a full ring table with one player missing. And then so what is Otis calling? He's a 16-7 out of 81 hands. So he doesn't call that often. He's probably a pretty tight caller. Let's see what his calling is. Whoops, wrong button. his 3-bet. His call 2-bet out of the small blind, 25%, 2 out of 8. So we can give him a slightly wider range. 3-betting is 0 so far. Out of 29 instances, 0 3-bets. But we are going to, let's see here. Let's look at that calling range. We're definitely going to keep out aces and kings from his calling range here, or other stuff as well, but definitely those. Let's see, it was 25%, but I don't want to set him as calling too wide. He might be calling a bit wide with such a loose passive player in the pot as well. Might be calling with a lot of speculative hands to see a flop against this guy who might be giving him a ton of value. Oh, look at that. He has a 3x stack right here. So he's been doing good. Maybe he's running hot and feeling really loose as well, actually. We want to take that into account with his calls. So so far, no 3-betting at all. Let's say he's calling those. He's 3-betting these hands right here. It is from an under the gun, so it's possible he is calling with ace-king. We don't know that much about him just yet, but 3-betting 0 out of 29 instances means he's probably a pretty tight 3-better, and his stats overall are rather taggish, even getting close to the nitty level here. So we're saying he's 3-betting just the nuts and the ace-kings right there. What else is he calling? I like the call 7-5, 10-8, and Jack-9. You often see those calling. Every suited ace, let's give him those. I'm good with keeping these out of his calling range. I mean, this is already 20% right here. Queens, let's take away queens. Let's put queens as a 3-betting hand. Jacks, I can see jacks calling here. Is he calling with queen 10 and king 10? It's very possible. I'm not going to have him call with the offsuit aces, but we'll give him all the suited. King 9 is often calling here. You know, it's a double gapper, or triple gapper, I mean. But yeah, still capable of calling. 9-7 possibly as well. And he could be really frisky, and maybe he's calling down to king 5 for all I know. But I'm not going to assign him a super wide range. And the reason why I said earlier maybe feeling frisky is he's got a 3x stack. He might be riding a winner's high kind of a thing. Positive tilt, as they say, and playing too much. But let's just go with all the suited 9s or better. Cool. Yeah, I'm good with this range right here. 280, 21%. After I plug this stuff in, let's take a look at some equities here. So hero is up here at the top range. He has the aces. He has every pocket pair. He has more nuts in his range, pre-flop at least, than the caller does. But we've got 56% versus 44%. So right now, the hero, Big the Big, is looking pretty good. And he has position on Otis, who is the small blind. Let's see what happens. Oh, Ars Viva calls as well, but as we know, he's not going to be in it long. King, Jack, Jack, Club, Spade, Diamond. All right, so on this flop, let's see. We have 5 different kings. And he has a lot more. He has 7 different kings in his range, not pocket kings. So we do have the top full house, as Big the Big has it in his range. So as you can see, the equity is still the same on this flop, 55%. It is a chicken board, paired board, pretty hard to hit overall on those kinds of boards. But range versus range, Big the Big is still looking pretty good and being happy with this range right here. Or with this flop, I should say. Otis checks. Let's see what his fold to cbet is. 80%, which is quite high, pretty flop honest. So I can see, look, it's less than a half pot bet. It could be for value or as a super cheap bluff with ace queen or pocket 9s even, something like that. So we can keep a pretty wide range in. He is trying to bluff versus 2 players, but it's a hard to hit board. Oftentimes a cheaper bluff like this might look like you're going for value, but it can win as a bluff. See what happens. Otis calls and Ars Viva folds. So what is his $1, less than half pot, we'll just say, less than half pot cbet into a multi-way pot? Quads, totally doing it, just starting to build a small pot right there with a smallish bet that's hard to not call if you have any piece of this. If you have a gut shot even, I mean, versus just $1, both of these players are calling with gut shots. They're probably calling with backdoor flush draws, ace 10 for a gut shot, maybe even like ace 9, which is a backdoor flush draw, ace 9 of clubs, spades, or diamonds, things like that. So there's plenty of stuff that he can be getting value from here. And if he was bluffing, at least he removed one other player and still has position in the hand. So what is he? Less than half pot betting. Full house is doing it. 3 of a kinds. All those different jacks, totally doing it right there. Over pairs, totally betting. Top pairs, I like them all. I like all of those for bets. Pocket pair below, I like that for a bet as well, just as a straight, you know, just doing a c-bet right there. And if they have aces and they decide to fold without some kind of a draw, great, your pocket queens won the pot right there. Weak pairs, I can see all of those making the c-bet. As we can see, the big c-bet is 71%, or 71% of the time. Let's see here. In position, and out of position, both 71%. Interesting coincidence. So he likes to c-bet, so things are looking good for him. Let's see. Weak pairs are c-betting. Ace highs. Ooh. Oh, well, those all have gut shot draws, so we'll keep them in down here. Open enders are totally betting this. Queen 10, the only open ender he has. Gut shots, ace queen, ace 10, 10 9. I can see all of those betting for sure for the one street right here. 2-card backdoor flushes, maybe not. It's possible. Some of those are included in some of these other draws, so I won't highlight that one just yet. So we've got 93% of the pre-flop range, 152 combos, 93 and 152. Hold on a second. 93%, 152, which is a little high, but it's a really hard to hit board, so he should be c-betting with all of his value hands as well as most of his bluffs right here, because he has position trying to take the pot away. The flop came king, jack, jack, king of clubs, jack of something, the other jack of spades. Okay, cool. Our range was 55%. The opponent had 45. Okay. So now, what is this opponent just calling? Now, remember, he has a big stack, and look at that, a 2x stack right here. If he flopped the nuts, he should be making some kind of a raise to start building the pot right here, because he is out of position, and this is the time to start building. Don't wait for the turn. You check call here and then try to check call the turn, but he checks behind. You've wasted your opportunity. You've got to start building the pot now if you are Otis, right? Yeah, if you're Otis, he should start. So I doubt he has quads. He'd at least make a min raise, maybe even just a 225, the size of that flop pot. Full houses he doesn't have. 3 of a kinds. Could he be slow playing 3 of a kinds? I think this is the time to go for value. Raised pre-flop under the gun. He could easily have aces, queens, 10s that he's betting right here. He could even have an ace king. If you have trips, you're getting max value out of the guy here. So I think all of those would be betting. Oh, my bad. Ace king has me beat. Yeah. So let's see. 3 of a kind. Could any of these just check call? I think they've got to all be raising. I think they're all check raising here. Over pairs doesn't even have any in his range. Top pair. Overall, pretty tightish player. C-bet's only 50. Folds 80% of the time. I would think that all the top pairs he's calling here. Pocket pair below. These weak pairs. Yeah, there's no reason to believe this opponent with a smaller bet. There's no reason to believe he has a jack or a king just yet. So he's probably calling. Ace highs? No, we'll put some ace high draws in here. No made hand? No, I think most of the time those are folding. Open-endeds, totally calling here for just a buck. Gut shots, totally calling. What were those? Ace queen, ace 10, queen 9, same. Not queen 9 is the other range. Backdoor flushes, I'm not going to put those in his calling range. On a paired board, paired chicken board like this, backdoor flushes, oftentimes not calling out of position. So we're just going to limit him quite a bit, down to 60% of his pre-flop range. So it was 60%, 137 combos. Lovely. Let's see what happened. Oh, before we look at that, now that we've ranged our opponents, the range he bets with, the range he calls with, it looks like the calling range only has 41% equity because there's plenty of draws in it. And we've removed, because he didn't raise, we've removed all of his nutter butters from his hand. So nothing really going for value here. He's probably got some kind of a showdown worthy hand or some kind of a weaker draw on this paired board. Ooh, King of Diamonds. Fun stuff. Now, what does that do to equities? King of Diamonds. 40. Oh, interesting. Okay. So, yeah, 56% versus 44%. So on that King of Diamonds, double paired board now, Our hero's equity, Big the Big, is only at 56%. So as we saw pre-flop, it was 55%. On the flop, 55. On the turn, 56%. I mean, things are basically, you know, a slight favorite for Big the Big right now. Just slightly when we look at ranges. Ooh, and he wakes up with a bet. Lovely. Now that spells a king for me right here. Tight aggressive player. Folding on two, I'm sorry, not folding, just calling on 2 streets, and then now suddenly waking up with aggression. And look at the size of that bet. It's roughly like 80%. What was it? 425. 80, exactly 80%. Yeah, so he's betting 80% of the pot right there. He likes his hand. I mean, it's possible it's a jack and under full house, but most likely it's the king because, as we said pre-flop, as we said on the flop, he's got a ton of kings in his range before that king of diamonds hit. So, oh, well, I guess we'll start with Otis. What is he betting 80% with? The top full house? Totally. Bottom full house? Oh, because we took the jacks away. No, he only has the top full house. No jacks in his range because we took away the trips on the flop. Makes sense. Doesn't he have a... Is he really betting out like this? Ace highs? I mean, if we look at him, he folds 80%. C-bets 50%. He's very flop honest. The fact that he continued means he's got... It's got to be a king. It really does have to be a king. I'm going to eliminate everything. No draws, no open-ender. He's got the full house and that's it. All those random kings in his range. And all of those make sense to call pre-flop and then call on the flop. And then to lead out like this, going for max value, probably hoping Big the Big has a jack that he can call 2 streets with and give him value. That's my guess as to what's happening. So we're going to narrow him down big time to just 18 combos now, which is 14% of his prior streets range. And you see, we took him from 280 combos down to less than 10%, down to just 18 combos. And one of the reasons why is because we see some great aggression, and we see the kind of board that not many players just throw out that donk bluff at. Not many do. Maybe it's possible he can. I could be totally wrong, and he's got an open-ender here. Who knows? But my guess is no. He's going for value. And then, what does Big the Big just call with is the question. Now, your opponent showed he loves his hand. You want to get all 46 bucks in the pot, right? Like he wants to double up, get a whole, double up his 2x stack to a 4x stack in this hand. If he had quads or the king's full house. So I don't think he's got the quad. Actually, he woke up with aggression. Big the Big, I think, is a smart player who will realize, crap, I have a king. He's betting because he has a king. So why bloat the pot and just pay extra to the rake? He might just call here and then assess the river and possibly raise or bet if he gets check 2 on the river. So he might call just to save that chopping money. The rake paid for the chop is my guess. So we will keep this in his calling range right now. And then the bottom full house, yes. It's not very possible. It's possible that those are in his range, yeah. Over pairs, oh man. It's a big bet. Waking up on a king. I bet you Big the Big is folding aces here. I really bet he is. Pocket pair below, totally getting out of there. Ace highs are done. No made hands are done. Flush draws are not calling. Open-enders are not calling. So what we've got here in this situation is a king high full house from him for sure versus a possible king high or a jack high full house. And I really think that's the ranges we're looking at. 23%, 33 combos. Wow. Yep. Interesting board, and it really does. It's possible he's bluffing. I just highly doubt it. Now, the 3 of spades doesn't change anything. It doesn't put a higher full house possible. If it were a queen or an ace, or even a jack, could change things, and Otis goes, crap, if he called with the underfull, now he's got the quads on me. So the only cards that would have mattered on the river are, I guess some diamonds too. 10 of diamonds, queen of diamonds, ace of diamonds, as well as just a different ace, a jack, or a queen. Those all matter, but the 3 doesn't matter at all in this instance. So we've got the 3 of spades, which gives him only 20% equity. 3 of spades, our hero has 20%, 80% to the king high full house range. Let's see what happens. 11 bucks in the pot, $46 behind. $9 again, so roughly 80 or 9 divided by 1100. What is that? $81, a little bit over 80% this time. Makes sense though. What he's doing, just going for max value with his king high, hoping he's calling with a jack high, and he just calls. Okay, you know, really on this board, I mean, is he going to call 2 streets with a jack high full house? He might. I have 3K hands on him. I only have 81 hands on Otis. He might know more about Otis than I do. He might know that Otis is capable of, I don't want to look at the notes because I might have made a note on this hand when it actually played. He might know that Otis is capable of bluffing turns and rivers. I don't know because I only have 81 hands, but he might have 2,000 hands versus Otis for all I know. So I am at this point going to keep, I am going to keep all the full houses in his range right here. Oh, wait a second. He doesn't even have any. Oh, he has more kings in his range. My bad. In my head, I was thinking that he had some jacks in his range. So before that came, oh, he doesn't even have any jacks. I took them out on the flop because he only bet $1. No, I took him out on the turn because, yeah, I did. That's right. So my bad. In my head, I was thinking he had jacks, but no, he doesn't have any jack highs. So it's full house versus full house, a random king versus a random king. So all the kings are taken. So in this instance, the river ranges are the same as the turn ranges. Ace, queen, wow, and a king, queen. Okay, so I was wrong on Otis. Otis is actually, that's pretty interesting. Otis is capable of, and this is a really good note to make here. Maybe I missed the showdown before. Capable of turn donk bluffing on 2-pair board with ace high is what it is. Capable of turn and river donk bluffing on 2-pair board with ace high. Yeah, wow. That's interesting. So it's very possible Big the Big knew he was capable of doing that. But if Big the Big knew he was capable of it, I think Big the Big didn't want to play a big pot with a possibility of being beat by quads, and at the same time, thinking that he had a king as well, didn't want to give any money to the rake. I think that's what happened here. Yeah, so it makes sense that he just called the turn and river. Especially, look at that size betting. 80% on the turn and river means that, hey, he's got a king as well. He's only betting that much with a king, so I'm just going to call and not lose too much to the rake. But good, I mean, he won a full, 120 big blind stack right there. Good for him. What an interesting hand. That's great to know about Otis for sure. Capable of turn and river donk bluffing. 80% pot on 2-pair board with ace high. That's great. Alrighty, well, I think that was really good. We learned a little bit more about this opponent Otis here, and we learned that Big the Big is actually totally paying attention. He doesn't just look at his hand and see, geez, this is the winner, I'm going to go all in here. Big the Big is actually a thinking player, and my guess is that he didn't want to lose any extra money to the rake when he saw that it was a chopped pot. So it's pretty good on his part. It was either a chopped pot or he was losing to quad jacks is a possibility, because as we know from the beginning, we put jacks within Otis's range here. So wow, that's pretty interesting to note. So Big is capable of, we could say pot controlling with the second nuts to avoid paying extra pot rake. Cool. Yep. So like I said, this is another indication that Big the Big is a winning player, as we saw from my report right here. I mean, Big the Big over 3K hands this is just from my database. Who knows what his database says? Or over 700 hands. 700 hands that went to showdown. He is 107 big blind per 100 hands winner. So this guy's doing pretty darn good here. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your time today. Come back tomorrow for day 35 of 66. Peace out.